Somewhere in your neighborhood, probably within a 5-minute walk of your front door, a garden is still exploding with color while everything around it looks tired and crispy. The roses have taken their midsummer nap, the petunias have gone leggy, the daylilies finished their show weeks ago. But that one garden keeps pumping out blooms like the calendar never turned past June. And here's the part that surprises people. The flower doing all that heavy lifting is one of the cheapest, easiest, most forgiving plants you can grow. You can start it from seed in July, right in the middle of the heat, and it will still reward you with 2, 3, sometimes 4 solid months of color. It laughs at 90-degree afternoons, it shrugs off dry spells, and it will keep flowering straight through September and October until frost finally calls the game. I'm talking about the zinnia, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why this old-fashioned flower deserves a permanent spot in your summer garden. My name is James Scott, and this is Golden Age Gardening, where we take the wisdom our grandparents knew by heart and pair it with what modern horticulture has learned since. I've been growing flowers for more than 25 years, and in all that time, no plant has given me more color per penny than the humble zinnia. If you enjoy practical, no-nonsense gardening advice like this, take a second and hit that subscribe button so you never miss a video. It genuinely helps the channel grow, and it costs you nothing but a tap. Now, let's dig into why this flower does what almost nothing else in the garden can do. To understand the zinnia's stamina, you have to understand where it comes from. Zinnias are native to the hot, dry scrublands of Mexico and the American Southwest. That heritage matters. While your hydrangeas are wilting and begging for shade cloth in August, a zinnia is thinking, this feels like home. Heat doesn't slow them down, heat is their fuel. But the real engine behind their marathon blooming is simple biology. Zinnias are true annuals, which means they have one job and one season to do it. Flower, get pollinated, produce seed, and pass their genes along before winter arrives. That urgency is baked into every cell of the plant. The moment you remove a fading flower, the zinnia doesn't sulk. It reads that as unfinished business, and immediately pushes out new buds to try again. You're essentially working with the plant's own survival instinct, and the harder you cut, the harder it blooms. Compare that to a perennial, which plays the long game. A perennial can afford a short bloom window because it knows it'll be back. An annual has no tomorrow to bank on, so it spends everything it has, every single week, from the day it first flowers until frost shuts it down. Zinnias just happen to do this with more speed, more color range, and more toughness than nearly any other annual on the market. And here's the kicker. They're one of the fastest flowers in existence from seed to bloom. Many varieties go from a dry seed in your palm to their first open flower in as little as 60 days. Some of the compact types do it even faster. That speed is exactly what makes the next part of this video so important. If you're watching this in July and thinking you missed the boat on summer flowers, I have wonderful news for you. You are actually standing in one of the best planting windows of the entire year, and almost nobody takes advantage of it. Here's the math. A zinnia sown in early or mid-July will be blooming by early September at the latest, and often sooner in warm regions. From that point, it flowers continuously until your first hard frost. For much of the country, that's late October or even into November. That means a packet of seeds costing a couple of dollars, tucked into warm summer soil, buys you 8 to 10 weeks of fresh, vibrant color during the exact stretch of the season when most gardens look their worst. And July sowing comes with hidden advantages that spring sowing can't match. The soil is already warm, so germination is lightning fast. Seeds that take a week or more to sprout in cool May soil will pop up in 3 to 5 days in July. There's no danger of a late cold snap stunting your seedlings, and because the plants grow up entirely in hot weather, they never experience the shock of transitioning from cool spring to blazing summer. They're heat hardened from day one. Experienced cut flower farmers have known this trick forever. They call it succession sowing, and they'll put zinnia seeds in the ground every 2 to 3 weeks, from spring until roughly 75 days before their average first frost. Each new wave of plants hits its peak just as the previous wave starts to tire. If you want your garden to look as fresh in October as it did in July, this one habit will get you there. So how do you actually do it? Simple. Choose a sunny spot, loosen the top few inches of soil, and press seeds in about a 1/4 inch deep, spacing them 6 to 18 inches apart depending on the variety. Water them in well and keep the soil moist until seedlings appear. In July heat, that might mean a light watering every morning for the first week. Once they're up and growing, you can back off considerably. That's it. No grow lights, no seed trays, no transplant shock. Zinnias actually resent being transplanted because of their sensitive roots. So direct sowing isn't just easier, it's better. If this July planting tip is new to you, drop a comment below and let me know what zone you're gardening in. I read every comment, and I love hearing how these techniques play out in different climates. Before we get into specific varieties, let's handle all the general care in one place, because the fundamentals are the same no matter which zinnia you grow. Master these 5 things and you can skip ahead knowing every plant we discuss will thrive. First, sun. Zinnias want 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight, minimum, and honestly, more is better. In shade, they get tall, floppy, and stingy with flowers. Full blazing sun is where they perform. If you only have a spot with afternoon shade, they'll survive, but you'll get maybe half the blooms. Second, water at the base, not overhead. This is the single most important zinnia habit you can build. Wet foliage invites powdery mildew, which is the zinnia's one real weakness, and we'll talk more about that later. Water the soil, keep the leaves dry, and do it in the morning, so any splash dries quickly. Established zinnias are remarkably drought tolerant, so a deep soak once or twice a week beats a daily sprinkle every time. Third, spacing and airflow. Crowded zinnias trap humidity between their leaves, and humidity breeds disease. Give compact varieties 6 to 9 inches, mid-sized types a foot, and the big cutting varieties up to 18 inches. It looks sparse at first, trust the process. They fill in fast. Fourth, feeding. Zinnias aren't greedy, but they appreciate a meal. Work some compost or a balanced, slow-release fertilizer into the soil at planting time, and you're mostly done. If you want maximum flower production, a diluted liquid feed every 3 to 4 weeks keeps the engine running. Go easy on nitrogen-heavy formulas, though, because too much nitrogen gives you a jungle of leaves and precious few flowers. Fifth, pinching. When your young plants reach 8 to 12 inches tall, snip out the top few inches of the main stem, just above a set of leaves. It feels wrong the first time you do it. But that single cut forces the plant to branch, and a branched zinnia can carry 3 or 4 times the flowers of an unpinched one. 60 seconds of courage in July pays dividends every week until frost. That's the entire care manual. Sun, smart watering, breathing room, modest feeding, one good pinch. Everything else from here is about choosing the right zinnia for the job. Not all zinnias are built the same, and matching the type to your situation makes the difference between a decent season and an unforgettable one. Let's walk through the best of the best. Variety number 1, the Profusion series. If you want the closest thing to a plant-it-and-forget-it flower, start here. Profusion zinnias are compact, mounding plants that top out around a foot tall and cover themselves in small, cheerful single blooms in oranges, reds, whites, yellows, and soft pinks. They were bred specifically for disease resistance, and it shows. Powdery mildew, the ailment that plagues older zinnias, barely touches them. Even better, they're largely self-cleaning, meaning old blooms fade away discreetly, and new ones replace them without you lifting a finger. These are the zinnias for edging a walkway, filling the front of a bed, or stuffing into containers on a hot patio. Several Profusion varieties have won All-America Selections Awards, which is the plant world's version of a gold medal, and they earned every one of them. Variety number 2, the Zahara series. Close cousin to Profusion, the Zahara series brings slightly larger flowers, some lovely bicolor patterns, and the same bulletproof constitution. Zahara zinnias handle drought with real grace, making them a smart pick if you travel in summer or simply forget to water sometimes. No judgment here, I told you at the start, easy plants are my love language. Between Profusion and Zahara, you have low-growing, self-sufficient color covered completely. Now, if the compact types are the reliable sedans of the zinnia world, what comes next is the muscle car. Variety number 3, Benary's Giant. Ask any cut flower farmer in the country which zinnia they grow for market, and this name comes up again and again. Benary's Giant plants stand 3 to 4 feet tall and produce huge, fully double dahlia-style blooms, 4 to 5 inches across, on long, strong stems made for the vase. The color range is glorious: deep wine, coral, golden yellow, lime green, bright scarlet, soft blush. A single row of these along a fence becomes the focal point of your entire yard by September. They do need that generous 18-inch spacing and benefit from the pinching we discussed, but the payoff is armloads of cut flowers from summer straight through fall. Variety number 4, the Queenie and Queen Lime types. For anyone who loves the moody antique look that's taken over wedding florals and garden design lately, the Queen series is your zinnia. Queen Lime, Queen Lime Orange, Queen Red Lime, These flowers blend dusty greens, faded corals, and soft rose tones in ways that look hand-painted. They're mid-height, around 30 inches, and they bring a sophistication that surprises people who think of zinnias as simple cottage flowers. If you cut flowers for your kitchen table, grow at least a few of these. You'll thank me in October. Variety number 5, State Fair and the Heirloom Mixes. Sometimes you just want the flower your grandmother grew, and the State Fair is that flower. This heirloom mix has been around for generations, producing big, bold, mixed-color blooms on tall, vigorous plants. It's not as disease-resistant as the modern series, and it's not as uniform, but it has charm by the bucket load, and saved seed from these plants actually comes back true enough to replant. Speaking of which, hang on to that thought about seed saving, because we're coming back to it before we finish. While zinnias take the crown, they play beautifully with a supporting cast. Mexican sunflower, known as Tithonia, shares the same July sowing tolerance and heat-loving nature, growing into a 5-foot tower of glowing orange blooms that monarch butterflies treat like a 5-star restaurant. Sow a few behind your tall zinnias and you'll create a late-season pollinator buffet that stays busy until the very end of the season. And if you're enjoying this deep dive so far, a quick tap on the like button tells the algorithm to share this video with more gardeners just like you. It really does make a difference. Here's where zinnias go from great to almost unbelievable. With the tall varieties especially, cutting flowers doesn't reduce your display, it multiplies it. When you harvest a zinnia bloom, don't snip timidly just below the flower head. Cut deep, taking a long stem, right down to a point just above a pair of side shoots. Within days, both of those side shoots surge upward, and each produces its own flower. Cut those 2, get 4, cut 4, get 8. Gardeners call this cut and come again, and zinnias are the textbook example. The plants you harvest from most aggressively will always be your most productive plants by season's end. One professional trick for the vase: before you cut a stem, give it the wiggle test. Grab the stem about 8 inches below the bloom and shake it gently. If the flower head flops around, it's not ready and will wilt in water. If the stem stays stiff and the head barely moves, cut away. That flower will last a week or more indoors. And unlike many blooms, zinnias don't keep opening after cutting, so harvest them fully open for the best show. For plants you're not cutting from, regular deadheading does the same job. Once a week, walk your zinnia patch with scissors and remove anything faded, cutting back to a leaf junction. 10 relaxing minutes on a Saturday morning keeps the flower factory running at full capacity. Every hero has a flaw, and for zinnias it's powdery mildew, that white dusty coating that shows up on leaves in late summer, especially in humid regions. Let's deal with it honestly. Prevention does 90% of the work. We've already covered the big 3. Water at the base, space plants generously, and choose resistant varieties like Profusion and Zahara, where mildew pressure is high. Morning watering matters too, since foliage that dries by noon rarely develops problems. If mildew shows up anyway, don't panic and don't rip plants out. Strip off the worst affected lower leaves and throw them in the trash, not the compost. Then, if you want to fight back further, a simple homemade spray of 1 tablespoon of baking soda and a small squirt of dish soap in a gallon of water, applied weekly, slows the spread considerably. Here's the encouraging truth though. Mildew is mostly cosmetic on zinnias. The flowers keep coming even on plants with dusty leaves. I've had mildewy zinnias blooming enthusiastically on Halloween. This is the season where your July decision pays off in full. While summer-planted vegetable gardens wind down and spring annuals collapse, your zinnia patch hits a second wind. Cooler nights in September actually intensify flower color. The reds get deeper, the pinks get richer. Migrating monarch butterflies, fueling up for their journey south, will find your zinnias and visit daily. Goldfinches arrive to pick seeds from any heads you've left standing. Your garden becomes the liveliest spot on the street precisely when everyone else's has gone quiet. Keep feeding lightly, keep cutting, and your plants will run right up to the frost line. When the forecast finally shows that first freeze, cut every bloomable stem the evening before and fill every vase in the house. One last bouquet, sometimes in early November, from seeds you pressed into warm soil back in July, and before frost takes the plants, do one more thing: save seed. Let a few of your favorite blooms dry completely on the plant until the heads turn brown and papery. Break them apart, and you'll find dozens of arrowhead-shaped seeds inside each one. Store them in a paper envelope somewhere cool and dry, and you've got next summer's garden for free. One healthy zinnia can hand you hundreds of seeds. Our grandparents never bought zinnia seed twice, and neither should you. So here's the whole story in one breath. One packet of seeds, one sunny spot, one July afternoon of planting. In return, continuous color through August, September, and October, armloads of cut flowers, clouds of butterflies, and free seed for every summer after this one. No other flower offers that trade. If this video convinced you to tuck some zinnia seeds into the ground this week, tell me in the comments which variety you're trying first. Share this with a friend whose garden fades every August. And if you haven't subscribed to Golden Age Gardening yet, join us. We've got plenty more old-fashioned wisdom where this came from. Until we meet again in the garden, keep your hands in the soil and your eyes on the blooms. Happy gardening, friends.